Have you ever found yourself just scrolling? You meant to put your phone down like an hour ago, but you're still there, thumb flicking, video after video. It's a feeling we all know. But here's the thing. It is not an accident. Not even close. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on why that happens, and it all starts with one really powerful idea.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. It's the key to understanding everything. These platforms aren't designed to make you feel good or happy. Their goal is to keep you there, to keep your attention for as long as humanly possible. Why? Because your attention is the product they sell to advertisers. And that one simple fact changes everything.
So let's dive into that design. We tend to think of our apps as just, tools that are there to help us. But what if we looked at them differently? What if we saw them as these incredibly sophisticated systems, engineered with one main goal, to keep you staring at that screen? It's a subtle shift in thinking, but it's a huge one.
Seriously, think about it for a second. That little red notification bubble that you just have to clear, the pull to refresh feature that feels like pulling the lever on a slot machine, and of course, the endless stream of short, snappy videos. None of that is random. Every single one of those features is a carefully placed cog in a giant machine designed to keep you tapping, swiping, and watching. They're all triggers, and they work incredibly well.
Okay, now here's where it gets really fascinating. This design isn't just about psychology, it's literally hacking our biology. It has a real physical effect on our brains. So let's get into the science of what's actually happening in your head when you're scrolling.
The main players here are something called your brain's reward centers. Now, these are the old, primal parts of our brain that release a feel-good chemical called dopamine whenever we do something pleasurable. Think about eating a great meal or getting a compliment. That little rush you feel, that's dopamine. And it basically tells your brain, hey, whatever you just did, do it again.
And that is what creates this incredibly powerful feedback loop. It works like this. A notification pops up on your phone. That's the trigger. You check it. That's the action. And your reward centers light up, giving you a tiny little hit of dopamine. And pretty soon, your brain starts to crave that feeling, pushing you to keep scrolling, looking for the next like, the next comment, the next entertaining video. You're locked in.
Now, over time, being stuck in this loop actually starts to rewire your brain's expectations. Deep focus, like reading a book or having a long conversation, gets harder. Boredom, it starts to feel completely intolerable. Even just quiet moments can feel unsettling, almost stressful, because your brain has been trained to expect constant, non-stop stimulation. You start needing things to be faster, shorter, and more exciting just to feel anything at all.
And beyond all the brain chemistry, there's a massive emotional side to this. On social media, you are constantly bombarded with these perfectly polished highlight reels of everyone else's lives, right? And this slide just shows that disconnect perfectly. You see their perfect vacation photos, and you compare it to your own reality. Maybe you're sitting on the couch in your sweatpants. The result? You're left with this nagging feeling that your own life just doesn't measure up.
And all of this, well, it takes a real emotional toll. The non-stop stimulation and the constant comparison can crank up our anxiety. Staring at that blue light at night messes with our sleep. And maybe the biggest irony of all is that being connected 24/7 can actually make us feel more lonely, because those digital likes and comments just don't have the same depth as a real-life connection.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty intense, but what do we do about it? Well, the good news is the answer isn't to just throw your phone into a lake. It's not about quitting. It's about retraining your brain. It's about being intentional and taking back control. So let's talk about some real, practical steps to do just that.
Here's a game plan. It's simple, but it's powerful. First, just start by gradually cutting back your screen time. Even 15 minutes a day makes a difference. Second, turn off all those notifications that aren't absolutely essential. Take away the triggers. Third, create phone-free zones or times in your day, especially that hour before you go to sleep. And maybe the most important step, actively replace that scrolling time with things that build deep focus. Read a book, go for a run, learn an instrument. You're teaching your brain how to enjoy the slow, rewarding things in life again.
Because what this all comes down to really is redefining your relationship with that little device in your pocket. It's about making a conscious shift from being a passive consumer to being an active, intentional user. You are in control.
We have to remember this. The technology isn't inherently evil. The apps aren't the villain. The problem isn't the tech itself. It's the way we've let it silently, almost unconsciously, rewire our habits and our minds.
And so that brings us to the final question, the one I really want to leave you with. Now that you know how this all works, how it's designed, and how your brain reacts,
You can't unknow it. You have the power. So the question is no longer about the phone. It's about you. How are you going to choose to reshape that relationship?